We're back, folks. It's another riveting episode of Popcorn.
The pop culture podcast that is shot in the JCTV studio on the Hillsborough campus. I always think we should say where we are. And also we have 3 TV production students helping us out today. So thanks to Leah, Hannah, and Miles. They're running cameras and doing the technical direction and switching. So that's awesome. So
thanks, folks. Thanks. So, one big movie this week.
Yeah, Thunderbolts Asterisk.
So, surely you know this, folks. Maybe you don't. But, yeah, they were promoting this movie. The title would flash, and then they would have an asterisk after the S in Thunderbolts.
And everyone wondered what that was about. And so, even if you haven't seen it yet and you're online, you probably have seen that they've kind of spoiled that. And actually, Marvel itself did it, not...
We'll cover
not
that.
like just some random poster online or anything.
We'll cover that in spoiler section.
Okay, sure.
You think we should or we shouldn't?
Yeah, well, I know one of our students here actually hasn't seen the movie yet and wants to. So I'm
okay.
kind of I don't want to spoil it for her.
Okay, we won't spoil it. We'll spoil other stuff maybe, but just a couple things, but not that in particular. It's online. Look it up, people.
Yeah. So what did you think? I know
basically it's a title change.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we always wondered what the asterisk was about, but there is a title change to the movie.
Well, here's something I've learned, and I think I sort of knew this before, folks, but turns out you do have to fully appreciate or judge a movie, you should be conscious the entire time.
Yeah, you fell asleep. I looked over and I noticed. I think you were asleep. I didn't want to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I didn't want to disturb your slumber.
So I always just wondered, did I snore during?
No.
Okay.
No
I guess I'm because if at home I have to use the sleep apnea machine, and I never notice it myself, of course, because a lot of people who snore don't notice it. But apparently, when I would snore, it would just be like massive, loud, snoring sounds. So I've always thought, oh, I'm going to do that in a movie theater sometime. But I think it's like you're just barely falling asleep. It's too shallow for you to really... Anyway. But, I definitely was like in and out a couple of times. And so that definitely hindered my ability to fully... certain plot points, I think, where like... Bucky's whole investigation, I was finding that a little difficult to follow, but then I saw it a second time last night. Went to the Keller 8, folks. You need to go to the Keller 8, or no, Keller 8. That's the old theater in St. Louis. The Festus 8. Keller 8 was the dollar show.
I was going to say, I wasn't sure if Keller was still open.
That was the dollar show, and then it was the $5 show, and then it was the we're closed down theater because $5 is not enough for us to stay open. But no, the old Festus 8, which is actually, it's pretty good theater. Back in the day, I thought it was kind of subpar, but they did the whole renovation with the seats that recline and everything, the Dolby sound system. So. If you're ever in the area, it was a private screening. I was the only one there to see Thunderbolts. So thinking those box office receipts aren't so great. This is a 7:30 in the evening kind of show too. But I bought some popcorn and bought some soda. Tried to keep them afloat. And so seeing it a second time, I got some of what I know you must have gotten out of it. There are some great emotional beats in the movie. So I have some complaints, but some grievances, or some criticisms. We'll get to those later, but why don't you break down the plot a little bit for this thing?
Okay, well, essentially we have some previous returning characters from the MCU, and everyone knows that. So we have Yelena, one of the Black Widows, the sister of the main Black Widow. And then we have Bucky, we have John Walker.
Bucky, who is the Winter Soldier.
The Winter Soldier, correct. John Walker, U.S. agent, who was in The Falcon and Winter Soldier, who was briefly Captain America. And then Taskmaster from the Black Widow movie. Mm-hmm. And finally, Bob, and the Red Guardian. I'll talk more about Red Guardian in a second, but Bob, who will become Sentry, which is one of the coolest Marvel Comics characters out there, I think. He's kind of Marvel's Superman. Also, though, he has in the comics at least, a lot of other powers beyond even what Superman can do.
Oh, my, dude, he's Neo. stopping bullets.
Stopping bullets. In the comics, he can read minds. He can manipulate reality. In addition to having all the strong, the strength of Superman, the flying abilities.
So he's like a walking Infinity Stone
Pretty much.
collection. By the way, I will say that it is in the movie. It's a reveal that he's Sentry, a bit of a plot, but they put that in all the promo stuff, or they hinted at it pretty strongly.
That's not a spoiler.
He's not just some guy. We're not just gonna be hanging around with a guy named Bob for 2 hours. So
essentially, all three of them are kind of tasked with, kind of they wanted to take all of them out because they're a liability to. The name of the character is so long, I'm going to get it wrong.
But, we'll just call her Val.
Val, yeah. So
she's a villain.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
She's really the villain, the main villain.
She is, and she's been in a couple other films, obviously, or shows at least before this, just making little appearances. So
CIA director is the position she has, and she's under investigation. They have impeachment hearings. I guess you can impeach a CIA director, but the first scene is her just being all bravado in front of the cameras and the court or whatever, like, I don't accept this, it's gonna go nowhere, yada yada yada. And then they show her like off once the camera is away. She's like, get rid of all that evidence. I mean, not that she's too freaked out, but she knows they will find something if she doesn't get rid of the evidence. So like you said, these particular agents, Black Widow, John Walker, whatnot, they've been getting rid of tons of evidence of bad stuff. They've been performing illegal experiments trying to basically create new superhumans, or at least maybe one major Superman type character, although they wouldn't be Superman, that's the wrong universe. They're doing hideous things, and now that this investigation's been launched, they have to try to get rid of all the evidence. Black Widow, well, I guess we're calling her Black Widow. Yelena, at one point, just like blows up a whole wing of a place. So to get rid of evidence that this Val character is once gotten rid of. But then, the final thing is, let's arrange for them all to be in the same room, and we're gonna get rid of them. So,
so they're kind of villains to start, anti-heroes if you want to call them that. All of them really aren't like popular in the public sense like the Avengers were, and there was kind of a void with no Avengers being around right now. So the plan, after the assassination stuff didn't work, that let's bring them together and make them kind of a team of heroes, essentially. So that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah.
But I think that since they are anti-heroes and all of them have had troubled pasts, like for me, the thing that gave the plot a little more substance was just kind of the commentary on their struggles and their mental health. So a lot of people obviously can kind of connect with that. So I felt like that part of the movie was made it a little more serious, and that's one thing I appreciated about it. Yes, there have been some scenes throughout some Marvel movies that kind of look at those types of things, like after the blip and how people were struggling. We've all lost people, but of course none of us have ever gone through a situation like that in real life. So some of the things these characters have gone through, I think the regular viewer probably can connect with a little more. So I like that part of it. The other thing I really liked was Sentry.
Oh yeah.
He fights all of them. Just his powers in that scene, the special effects were well done, and he, when they bring him back, I know he should be in Doomsday and Secret Wars. I think for sure in some way. So I can't wait to see him again. So hopefully, I think they've got to bring his powers back at some point. Yeah. The one negative I would say, or criticism, was Red Guardian to me gets a little irritating after a little bit. I love David Harbour, but I love his excitement and everything, but that was just a little too much for me after a little bit. So.
Wish I could do that Russian accent. It's like, we could be the heroes on the Wheaties box with the little kid's toy inside.
Life goal, be on the Wheaties box.
Wheaties.
Yeah.
I think they actually did that then. I think they as part of the marketing. It's. I will say this. Maybe get into a couple of my criticisms, or because seeing it, I would put it at a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And somebody's like 4. Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not. Obviously, a lot of people would say something like Endgame. That's 5 out of 5, and I would agree on that. But is this? Do you think it's 5 out of 5 on this, or 4 out of 5? Or
I don't really rank movies.
Okay,
that
that's
way,
cool. Yeah,
but I'd give it a 4.5, I guess, if I had to.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Here's a couple glitches, and by the way, I realized that the ending credits thing, that's a spoiler, and I think there's one other thing that I want to talk about later that will raise up the spoilers thing for that. But mostly what we're talking about, we're not giving away any major plot points, but yeah. So that place they go to where they've been lured in by Val, what is I want to say it's Allegra de Fontaine. What's the first name I'm glitching on? Val. Anyway, whatever. She's got a long name. That's the point, folks. And by the way, the hilarious part is her sister's name is Mel. Like, that's a glitch right there. You don't have one character be called Val and her assistant's name Mel. That's just dumb. So they're lured in this place. It's like some secret base. Looks like something out of Mission Impossible. And I clocked it this time. They are in that base once they get in there for a full half hour of the movie. And I just feel like that's too long in one location for a superhero movie, or for any kind of comic book movie, really. So, and obviously they move around and do different things, but man, at one point, I'll just say this is not some big, they do have to try to, obviously they're going to work together at a certain point. That whole thing where they're trying to get out of some long shaft, whatever, and their plan is they all link up against each other and put their legs and they're inching their way up a really long distance. I don't even know if people could do that, but I guess super powered people could do it, but that goes on and then they get to the top and they're like, one of us needs to grab something but if one of us gets out, I don't know, it was a whole thing.
It proves they have a lot of core and leg strength.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. But not Bob, though. Well, maybe Bob was working out while he was. So I just want to throw it out that, yeah, when you fall asleep, you sometimes miss important details in a movie. And one of them I missed, they just kind of threw out, I think, in passing, that Bob is a recovering meth addict. And that is just one of the most peculiar details I have ever heard in a Marvel movie. They don't refer to meth in the Marvel movies too often.
No, I think that's a first. I think again, I don't know his full history in the comics. I know for sure he was like a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
At the least, I mean, he may have been into drugs too. I'm not really.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say that when they threw in the idea that he was a recovering meth addict and that he was in one of those chicken man costumes promoting, I'm going to say the movie invented that. I'm doubting they put that in the comic book.
Probably.
So that was a little wacky. And then I guess the other glitch, which I won't get too deep into this because, well, let's do the spoilers thing. You want to do the spoilers thing? Bring up the banner.
Sure.
Okay, spoilers.
Cover your ears. Spoiler alert.
No, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but just that basically they're up against Sentry, and you talked about a great physical battle, but there is an aspect of the film where they're doing a psychological battle too. It's basically like Inception. They're inside his head, their own minds. It's sort of like some weird kind of like collective unconscious thing. So you're seeing action that takes place in a dream world or mind world, and I don't know. Part of it just either it went on too long, or I just felt like it was a strange way to have that be the big resolution.
Well, and the thing too, it seemed to me it was, it's kind of a alternate dimension because the people that went in there physically left the real world, right? They're and they based that and just in interviews with the director. I mean, when he'd shoot these people, they'd turn into a shadow on the ground, and they kind of took that from the Hiroshima nuclear bombings because people would leave those kind of remnants of that after they were destroyed by the bomb. So that was
clever.
A pretty powerful effect.
Yeah.
And they had to do it really fast, like 1.5 frames is what he said in the interview, or else it wouldn't work. Like it would look fake, kind of. So. But yeah, that was a little, and again, like I say, don't know all the lore from the comics, but the Void seemed to be, at least from a few YouTube videos I've watched on it, it's kind of like his alternate personality, but it's also maybe another completely sentient being that they're kind of one thing together.
Yeah.
But yes, how they leave this world and then go into that world And then if, I guess, the Void decides, okay, I'm going away, I'm done with this, everyone comes back. So that was a little confusing.
And that's the final thing when you have like all you just there's kind of there's stakes and then there's suddenly no stakes. If you can just suddenly reverse everything, it's basically another. I know we like Endgame, we like Infinity War. But it's a little bit, it's manipulative to be like, let us kill a character and then we'll bring them back like 5 minutes, 10 minutes later. But that's
comic
comics.
books.
That's we've said it before. That's an issue. So, the amnesia thing bothers me a little bit. Well, Bob's got the amnesia, and we know that's a bit of an overused trope in.
It is. Now again, in the comics, I can say, just based on what I've seen, is that. He was so powerful and such a problem that they did a spell to where everyone forgot who he was, and even he forgot who he was. So, and Reed Richards was involved in all that with the comics. So that's the next movie I'm looking forward to. Fantastic Four: First Steps.
There you go. Did we want to spoil that or that little reveal? Okay.
Well, you already did. So
what How did I spoil it?
Well, you. You said, I mentioned Fantastic Four, and you said, let's spoil it. I think people will make the connection. Oh. But also, it's not any kind of huge surprise that they would link. We already know that Fantastic Four is coming into the 616 universe, so they are here after the post-credits. We think.
That post-credits scene.
We see their ship, that's it.
I'll just say they're all bantering, the banter was just like top notch. I was like, I want to watch a whole new movie that is just these people hanging out and doing funny stuff, like investigating some crime that's not world. They were hilarious, and they have this one bit where they say something about something showing up on the screen. I won't fully reveal, and they goes something like, "It's an interdimensional rift or something." And Red Guardian's like, interdimensional. What's that? But thumbs up for both of us, folks. We're gonna. I think it's a good setup for things to come, and a good, like you said, the exploration of mental health, loneliness, isolation. Obviously, people have been talking about an isolation and loneliness epidemics and post-COVID, and So
I think. The MCU's back, baby.
They're back. They're so back. They're so back.
I know Disney overall and Marvel. Bob Iger was just quoted in one of their investor meetings like this week, I think, saying they're not going to produce as much content. So they got we need to flood all of this content out there. The quality went down a little bit, so they're going to still have a lot of content, but they're going to step back from thinking we need 5 shows a year and 4 movies a year.
Right.
So I think that's a good strategy because I've liked most of the stuff, but a few of the Disney Plus shows haven't been top notch, and a few of the movies. And then too, it's always just kind of a lot of fans check out because they feel like they need to do homework to watch all this stuff to understand kind of what's going on in the other films. So I think they're gonna try to get away from that a little.
The funny thing in this case is that I did watch all this stuff. I watched that.
I have too.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So you had that. You should have watched that. Should have watched Black Widow. Anything else? Is it mostly those two?
Mostly those two.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'm trying to think. Red Guardian. What was he in? Black Widow was the main movie with that. So those would be the main two.
And then a post-credit scene references Captain America, Brave New World.
Right.
Yep.
So it's good to have seen all the Captain America movies as well.
Right.
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. I forgot about
Civil War.
So any movie with the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes in it.
Those are two of the best. Winter Soldier and Civil War, I think, are in the top 5 that they've made. So.
Oh yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
Russo brothers, we'll just forget that we torched their last movie on this show. Okay, well, we have we're going to have a little interview here in a bit with Rebecca Ellison because she's got a new musical to talk about. But we wanted to wrap up this segment because it is, we're on the eve of finals week here. We're filming this just before finals week is about to occur, and I was at the library the other day, and they have a whiteboard, and they wrote at the top, how do you plan to celebrate finishing final exams? And so left a bunch of space in the marker, obviously. People wrote a bunch of different things there, and so I came up with, I sifted through those, and I've got a good old David Letterman top 10 list for you folks. So here we go. Yeah, where's Paul Schaefer when you need him? Get ready to get that band ready. All right, so this is the top 10 ways students plan to celebrate finishing final exams.
And these are all from students who wrote this on the board. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
Okay, top 10 ways students plan to celebrate finishing final exams. Number 10, evil schemes.
Wow.
Number 9, taco tequila.
I like that.
That's, just local place in town. Number 8, visit my pawpaws. Touching.
There it is.
Number 7, blaze.
Uh-oh.
Number 6, consuming 5,000 calories.
Comfort food. That's important.
Number 5, be a couch potato with an E on the end. That's for the Dan Quayle fans.
I understood that reference.
Number 4, Disney. Going to Disneyland, binging shows on Disney Plus. We don't know. Number 3, oversleep and pick strawberries. Sounds healthy.
Yeah.
Number 2, crying. And the number 1 way students plan to celebrate finishing final exams: hit the club.
I don't get that reference.
It's saying hit the club, but they wrote
okay.
club.
I gotcha.
They're so witty with their wordplay.
I would say the crying thing, do that during finals, but when you're done, smile.
You know, you've experienced, you're feeling that
Cathartic.
stress, and you're like, cathartic cry.
Hopefully you've done well on all your finals, and you don't need to cry.
Yeah, we wish. I mean, not that this will air after that, I guess, but hopefully everybody did well on the finals. We had got another semester in the books, and another great episode of Popcorn. Well, we got one final segment to come though, so
stick around for more about the summer musical. Check that out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get out of here, and Rebecca will be in, and we'll go from there.
Sounds great. See you in a bit, folks. Hey, folks, welcome back. It's time for some more popcorny goodness, and today I've got a special guest in the studio, Rebecca Ellison, theater director, theater professor. I'm saying this in a crappy accent. So what's the full professorial title?
I am a professor of communication and theater.
There we go. And if you have been hanging out at the old Jeffco campus at all in the past, I don't know, however many years, chances are maybe you came here to see a production directed by Rebecca. Plays, musicals, tragedies, video game parodies, that kind of stuff. Having Rebecca here on the show to talk about the latest production that's going to happen this summer. What's it called? What's it about?
It is called Pump Boys and Dinettes. And I did bring the script with me to kind of show it off.
There you go.
How cute it looks. It's by John Foley, Mark Hardwick, Deborah Monk, Cass Morgan, John Schimmel, and Jim Wan. And basically it is... it's a country music review of sorts. So it's not country music that you know. It's not any standard songs. This team wrote all the music, and they're the original performers as well. So when this show was originally done, and is done currently in this format as well, the people who are singing are also playing the instruments. Now, we are not doing it that way because most of my actors are not comfortable playing instruments as well as singing and dancing. So we still have a pit, we're calling it a pit orchestra. They're going to be on stage with us playing. And so it's a piano, a bass, a guitar, and some percussion. But we will be participating as well in some of the musical instruments. And so it's a roadside diner on Highway 57, and it's the Double Cup Diner. And it's owned by sisters, Retta and Prudy Cup. And the diner is right next to the gas station, and that's the Pump Boys. And that is owned by Jim and LM. And then they also have Jackson and Eddie working there. So you have 4 Pump Boys and 2 Dinettes. And they interweave some stories, just some sweet little vignettes with all of the music.
Sounds great. So you said we there. Are you one of the
Yes,
performers?
I am.
They dragged you in there.
Surprise! Yes. Yes.
You got past your own rigorous
I did get
casting
past
process.
those auditions. I mean, they were tough. Don't get me wrong. They were super tough
You
when I
just
was
yelled
like,
at yourself.
wait a minute, look at there's not enough people. I guess I'll
yeah.
be.
Oh yeah, that
just-
happened with the video game
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the Fine Arts building is under renovation. And so many people thought we were completely shut down and didn't even realize that we're still just trying to find performance spaces. And so, yes, I am playing Eddie, one of the Pump Boys.
Wow.
So it's a bit of a stretch, especially vocally, because sometimes I get to sing tenor, which I'm okay, but sometimes I'm in bass, and it'll be interesting.
That brings to my question, because I was reading up a little bit on this, but I couldn't tell from what I found on the internet. Is there a lot of spoken dialogue, or is it pretty much people singing the whole time?
Most of it is sung. There's a little bit of dialogue woven between the songs, but it's very minimal. It's mainly just kind of like the little vignettes, like the little story that leads us into this particular song.
Okay. Cool. Do you have any behind-the-scenes stories you'd like to share with us?
Well, I think that the interesting challenge right now, and that has created a lot of stories, is just the fact that we don't have the theater. So we are performing at Hillsborough High School is where we're going to be doing the performance in June. But we can't rehearse there because, of course, school is still in session, and so we can't get there until later into June. And so we have to find different places to rehearse. So we are rehearsing in the choral room, is where we do music, and then we're doing choreography and blocking rehearsals in the Viking room, as well as the JCTV studio. We were in here last night doing some choreography, which when we have a tap number, this floor is excellent.
Awesome.
But of course, we did startle a few people last night when we were in here and we're singing and dancing, and it's a little loud, and some people kind of came to the door and they're like, what you doing in here? This is not, we don't know you. I'm like, hi, we're just dancing. And so, yeah.
Well, as one who's been known to linger past, after hours in the AS1.
Well, you might find us. We don't know where we're going to end up some nights.
So check this out. I was there at like 4 a.m. recently, and then I locked myself out of my office. I was like, wow, what did they do in the olden days when they didn't have cell phones and this happened? And then I was like, oh, I guess I would have just like walked down to the police substation or whatever. So,
yes, you would have solved that problem.
I called that guy over, and he took care. He was quite disappointed to learn that I'm not teaching mythology anymore. And I'm like, hey, your buddy Ashley Rudolph has got that one. Got that. We're fine. They don't need me to teach it.
You should check that out.
All right, so with all these things, you wonder like who's it all for? Like, will kids enjoy this, or do you think that it's appropriate for kids?
The material isn't. I will say there are a few double entendres in some of the music. But I don't think little kids would enjoy, mainly because these are not songs that are geared toward kids. They're, some of them are very nostalgic as far as, this was first released in 1981. So, you got to look back. There's a song about Dolly Parton. And while kids might, because of her reading program, her books program, might know who she is, the song is not a Dolly Parton song. It's about Dolly Parton.
Right. Yeah,
so I don't think the material is going to be something they're interested in. I definitely think it's more of an adult.
Kids be yelling out, play Jolene!
Yeah. I would be surprised if a kid knew Jolene. But if they did, I'd probably want them to come be in a show.
What about people like, it's weird because I guess I'm sort of like this with movies. A musical is not necessarily it's not like I'm opposed to it, but it somehow just isn't my go-to. I saw that movie Sinners recently, and it's just like, I don't know. The music, there was a couple nice songs, but it was like if the music was supposed to carry me on that one, it didn't quite work. What about people who maybe just like musicals aren't inherently their thing?
I think this is a good one to kind of get yourself maybe back into giving it a shot, mainly because it's not your big grand stage musical. First of all, there's only 6 of us in the cast. So there's Amanda Boyer and Jill Holtzman are playing the Dinettes. And then the Pump Boys are Christopher Owens, Jeremy Levere, Liv Hartwell, and myself playing Pump Boys. So there's just 6 of us on stage. And it is just very sung through. As I said, there is some choreography I am trying to do. We have a little tap number in there and, trying to just kind of keep things moving along. But if you like country music at all, and kind of maybe some of that nostalgia, it is a show for you because you can just enjoy some music. So a lot of times people kind of think of it as more of a concert feel, not like a rock concert feel, but more of just, a nice little concert feel, maybe in a club or something like that, rather than your full-blown musical where you're sitting there going, people don't do this in life. People don't break into song as they're walking down the street and everybody's in love with each other. It's not that kind
I guess
of show.
that's usually the objection. It's like that. You didn't see Joker 2, did you?
No, I did not.
Man, I mean, when I first heard about it, I'm like, this guy's a mad genius. Like, he makes a normal movie, crimes, disturbing guy movie, whatever, origin story of the Joker, and it's a $1 billion hit. And then they're like, we want you to make a sequel. He's like, how about a musical? You're like, oh, the genre we weren't doing for the first movie? We're just going to throw that in? And
I should check it out.
It did not work. It did not work at all.
Maybe I won't.
There is the one number I think you'd really like. It was something like Gonna Climb Me a Mountain. I don't know if it sounds like it might be a standard. I don't know. But they really did the full production. With Joaquin's all in his Joker outfit. Lady Gaga's all Lady Gaga out and everything. And they just did this amazing, and that's like one song, but all the other songs are like, he's calling somebody for his call from prison. Let me sing a song to you while I'm on my phone here. It's like more like he's having a conversation, but he's singing it. Yeah. It's just
okay.
Just
don't anyone think that's what our show is. It is not.
No,
we're not on the phone in prison. We're not in prison.
We're not in prison. None of these Pump Boys got thrown in jail. Okay.
I mean they do sing a lot about fishing and beer, but.
So let's go ahead and recap. So we got what other performances again? The
performances are June 13th, 14th, 15th, and then 20th, 21st, 22nd. So the Friday and Saturday nights are at 7 o'clock in the evening, and the Sunday performances are at 2.
You probably said this, but it's in June.
It's in June, Hillsborough High School.
Okay, one last question about this play, and then I got a little theater question for you.
Or
movie/theater question. Okay, so last one related to this question. My cousin Mike is not going to come to this production. Okay?
What's wrong with Mike?
I'm just telling you. He lives in the city. So he's not going to drive all the way here. But if cousin Mike were to come to this production, would he enjoy it?
Yes.
Oh, Mike, there you go.
Mike, come on.
I mean,
come on.
You got to do it, Mike.
Mike, I'm going to be calling you later.
So, my question was, I did a little comedic set that bombed horribly yesterday at a Jeffco event, and one of my jokes was about Wicked. I won't get into the joke since again it bombed, but
probably a good idea.
The movie. So I want to talk about the movie, and did you see that movie?
I have not.
Okay, well then I guess.
But I've seen the stage production.
Yeah, I figured.
And I'm of course much more of a live theater than a film version of a musical.
Right, yeah.
I may inevitably see it, but right now
when I see there's certain movies you see commercials for and you go, or you just know what it's about, and you're like, this can't possibly be for me. It's just not possible. And it's like 3 hours long, and that's only the first part one. Yeah, I'm going to see this, and then I'm going to come back in December and see 3 hours more of this. I doubt it. But one of my things, I'm sure you love Wizard of Oz and everything in general.
I do. I directed it many years ago, and I love the film. Saw it, of course, as a kid. Yeah. Flying Monkeys freaked me out.
Of course, everybody. Yeah.
But directing it, that was probably one of one of my
man.
favorite ones to do.
Wow.
Because it was a nice blend of having kids as actors as well as adults. Because sometimes working just with children, no offense to small children, but you're not easy.
Yeah.
You're also like working with animals.
Don't take direction well.
Yeah, but I had such great kids because they played the Munchkins and also the Flying Monkeys, and they were amazing. And then of course the adult actors and the storyline, and also I think we sold out almost every performance. People came dressed up as characters to watch the production.
Nice.
And so, yeah, that was an amazing one to do.
What year did you do that?
Oh gosh, Wizard of Oz probably would have been 2005, 6, somewhere in there. Yeah, early. It was early in my career here.
Oh, so what was your first year here?
My first year here was 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, and so my first musical was actually summer of 2001, and we did Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Because at some point I started going each semester and everything, but I got here in 2004, and I don't remember. But so I don't know. Maybe I just was Wizard of Oz. Screw it. I might have seen it.
Wow, man. Wow.
So
Okay,
my little
Harshing on the theater.
No, I did see Grease though, and I had seen that. No, I just want to give my little soapbox. Like I come across, as a reader, as I know you are. We have to read things to teach, folks. That's the way it works.
A little bit.
So yeah, it just like kind of blows my mind that there are so many references to the Wizard of Oz in pop culture, to the point where I think it's like, and same thing with Alice in Wonderland. Those two works they have to be referenced more than anything else. I don't know, maybe the Bible if you add up all the characters. But I mean, it's like it's just ubiquitous, and I always I tell my film and preach students, if you're gonna make a movie, just don't do it. Just don't. No more of the references to Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland. It's been done. But then every once in a while something comes along and it's like, oh well, I'm a hypocrite now because I like this movie Pearl a few years back. Okay. And they're basically using that Wizard of Oz aesthetic, except it's a horror movie. This was before these crappy movies that use these things that like when the copyright's no longer on them, so they can make a Popeye the Killer Man or whatever. Kind of thing. Yeah, all these horror movies, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh,
I know
no.
Yeah,
No.
we're not doing that, folks.
No.
You'll never hear me review this.
No.
So, well, I suppose we better wrap things up, and I guess then we got to say, till next time, keep poppin', Colonel.